Hi, my name is Christine Chung. I'm a life coach from the Qualia Hub. Today, I want to talk to you about is how to say no without feeling guilty. I know a lot of people that they have hard time telling people no, although they know they don't want to say it, they will regret. So what I'm going to focus on is to show you two things. One is, why do we do that? Even though we know we should have said yes, say no, but we still say yes. Another thing is, I'm going to show you a few tactics and few tips so you can implement to your real life when people come to you and ask you for things that if you don't want to say yes, you will feel comfortable saying no to them without feeling guilty. Okay, so let's start. Let's get started. Well, first of all, why do we say yes to things even though we know we shouldn't have? Now, is it something we were brought up when we were young, we were little? Saying no to people is a very bad thing. Your mom, your dad, your teacher, everybody is like in your authority. You cannot say no to them because you will get into trouble. You get a negative consequence. And that triggers us saying no, and it's related to the negative consequence. And we don't like that. So we avoid conflict, we avoid hurting others' feelings. So we always say yes. But that is not a good thing, right? Because sometimes when you say yes to things that you really don't want to do, that means you may get overwhelmed. You might not be able to fulfill that. You might not be able to keep your promise. And the other thing is, you're not being honest. You're not being the true you, right? So I think being honest is one of the good quality that we should have, right? Especially when you are with your friends, you don't want to tell them anything that is against your own value or your will. So that is the first thing you have to convince yourself and to believe it, which is the truth. Then if you don't feel like doing it, tell them that you cannot do it. It is the truth, which you should value that. And another thing is, like, if you keep saying yes to things that you don't mean to, it will actually come back and bite you, because you will build up that resentment. You're not going to be happy, and you'll be overwhelmed and put yourself in a lot of stressful situation. So if you start thinking about that, then it's less guilty when you say no to your friends, right? So here are a few things that I'm going to kind of share with you, and maybe you can use it next time when this happened to you and you need to say no. Number one is, you can tell them thanks, but no thanks. I think a lot of people already use that directly or indirectly, or maybe you have done that too. And someone come and ask you for a certain thing and say, oh, thank you, but I don't need it, thanks. But I want you to add to it, one little thing to add to it. Very often we give the person an explanation of why we say no. Sometimes it's not necessary. Because if you come up with a reason, what happens if that person helped you to resolve that reason that you cannot do it? Well, I'll give you an example. Like say a friend of mine invited me to a party. I didn't really want to go. I don't want to hang out with people, and I want to spend my time with my family or my friends, you know. And if I just tell them, oh, thank you, but no, I'm not going. I don't want to go. Okay. But if I add to it and say, oh, because, if you say because, you're coming up with a reason, an explanation. For example, if I say, oh, I can't come to the party because I have no babysitter, right? That's a very common thing. They use their kids. They have nobody to watch the kids. I cannot come. What happens if the requester tells you that that's okay, bring your kids? What are you going to do? Come up with another excuse or reason? That doesn't mean, like, it's not very truthful, right? Your friend know that you're coming up with an excuse if you keep going with other reasons. and say, what about if your friends say, okay, that's okay, my mom can watch your kids for you, right? So sometimes you have no explanation, may be a better tactic, another skill to do. Now there's a very sensitive thing that is hard to say no. For me, it's very hard to say no when people come to me to borrow money from me. Usually those people, they need the money like for urgent emergency. I used to have a friend that came to me and asked for $2, $5 here and there because he needs to get medication for for his daughters. His mom is sick. He needs a bus fare. Everything is urgent. And then eventually I got fed up with him because he never paid me back. Although it's like $1 here, $2 here, and then $5, $10. But I just don't feel right. And I continuously lent him money. He never paid me back. So after a while, well, many years later, I came up with an idea that really worked. Then I had a rule. I have a bottom line, which maybe you can try that too. I'll tell the person I only lend out maximum $5, right? So if that person gives you like, okay, that's okay, $5, say I'm gonna lend out $5, and then if you want another $5 next time, pay me back first, right? Set the expectation right away, and it's not that you're being rude. You need to protect yourself being ripped off too, right? And sometimes it's just fair. If you don't pay me back, I cannot keep going and give you money for free. Or another way to do it is I found can be very helpful is I do not lend money out for to non-family members, right? So it's very simple as that. If you're not my family, I don't lend out money, or I don't lend out money to those that are not in my family, and the maximum I'm gonna lend out is $5. Until you pay me back, I'll get you. If next time you need help, I'll lend it again, but you have to pay me back first. Set the expectation right from the get-go, rather than, later on you'll feel bad because it's harder to chase someone to return something to you. Yeah, I experience that quite often. It's harder for me to chase that back. Okay, so that's one thing. Another one is, this is a good one because it will help you become, it gets you really comfortable and professional, and people should respect you this way, is when they come and ask you for doing something for them, give them a little bit time, a cooling period. Tell them that you're gonna get back to them because you need to check the schedule, or just say, I need to get back to you, let me think about it. And nobody should push you to make a decision without giving you time to think. So during the time you think about it, there are two things that you need to pay attention to. Get back to the person as soon as possible. You give yourself some time to think, but get back to that person. The best way to do it is on the same day, because the other person need the answer from you, right? If you can't do it, tell them within the same day. If you cannot do it, no more than 2 days, depending on how urgent the situation is. The sooner the better. And make sure that you will tell the person when you're going to get back to them, how you're going to get back to them. Okay, so for example, someone came and asked me, oh, can you help me type up this letter? Say, oh, okay, well, hold on a second. Let me check my work first, and I'll get back to you. I'll let you know by 2 o'clock today, or I'll get back to you tomorrow morning, and I will call you, or I'll email you, right? Give them a time and a method, how you're gonna get back to them. And be sure to deliver your promise. Otherwise, they're not gonna trust you. Get back to them as you told them. I'm going to get back to you by 2 o'clock today, and I'm going to call you, and do it. That's your commitment. All right. Another one is often happen to us when our manager comes to, give us extra work. It happens all the time because, work is busy for everybody. It's hard to say no to your manager because like it's kind of like rude or not professional, and people don't feel good about saying no to your manager. Well, maybe some people do, but I found it is a lot of my friends have hard times telling the managers, saying, no, I don't want to take this job. But it's okay to say no, but there's a little, you have to be a little bit skillful. First of all, you have to be in your manager's or the other person's shoe. Understand that they have another person or higher up to answer to. They're not here to harm you. They just need something done by you and help them, right? I'll give you a scenario, maybe, that way you'll get it. I used it a lot. I'm telling you, it worked, and it works. And let's say my manager, Nancy, came and said, hey, Christine, can you help me type this letter up? I need to put it with my report that I need to send out tomorrow. Okay, so it's urgent because there's a report waiting for this letter that is waiting for me to get it done. It's urgent. But I have a lot going on already, right? Maybe I'm working on something has a very tight deadline. So first of all, I put myself into my manager's shoes, and I'll say, Nancy, it's like, oh my goodness, I see that you must be stressed out. You need this done tomorrow, right? It's very important. I love to help you, but I got this going on, and it's due next week, for example. Say, should I get another a little bit more time for this project, and then I type up your letter for you? Can you extend my deadline for this? I love to help you, but let me know which one I should focus on. Be honest with them. That way, if you're late for your task here, maybe another report going on that you need to submit on a certain day, maybe your manager will give you extension, or at least the manager understand you are having something going on that you might not be able to finish the letter for her. Or maybe your manager say, oh, okay, you know what you're doing is very important too. Let me ask someone else. So let your manager make a decision what focus you should be focusing on. Okay, so that one is a very useful, and it works because you're being professional. You're just sharing what you're having, what is happening to your workload. Okay, and I think I just wanted to share with you with those tips. There are more examples that I can show you, but I don't want to talk about it today. Maybe maybe we can have another session that I can go into deeper. But another thing before I leave today is I want you to understand, if you have problems saying no before, it's going to take time for people to accept your no answer. So be patient. People might think like, what's going on with you? You always like do it, right? So your change is going to take time for people to kind of really understand. I call this, you have to teach people how you want to be treated. Okay, if this is something new to you, don't expect it's going to work. You might see a little bit resistant at the beginning, but be patient and be consistent. Be consistent. Don't feel bad because you're just speaking the truth. And sometimes when you're taking on too much and you might not be able to do a good job, you feel even worse. So think about that part. It's good for you and good for the other person. Okay, if you have any question, you can email me or give me a phone call. It's on my website, Qualia Hub. And nice talking to you. My name is Christine Chung. I'll talk to you next time.